And welcome back to All Day Live. It is 12:34 on this Monday. Thanks for being with us. Last week, if you happened to be with us, we told you about some of the new attendance laws that are now in place in Minnesota schools, public and charter. They were unanimously voted into place by bipartisan lawmakers because they really wanted to tackle chronic absenteeism. They say it is still a major problem here 5 years after the pandemic. There's one part of this law specifically that focuses on now K through 12, and it says if a student misses 15 days of school in a row consecutively at any point during the school year, they will be unenrolled. And then they're going to have to work with the district, even a county social worker, to create a plan to get back on track. In Minneapolis public schools, they have been really honing in on this with a program called We Want You Back. It is a rapid response support system for specifically middle and high school students who were dropped for maybe non-attendance, and then other youth who left school before they could get their diploma. We wanted to dig into some of this just a little bit more. So joining me now is Colleen Kaibel. She's Director of Student Retention and Recovery for Minneapolis Public Schools. Colleen, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I guess we want to try to define these 15 consecutive days, because I think in the wake of the pandemic, there are days missed for, you know, a mental health day or personal reasons, or I'm sick, but I'm not quite sick enough to get a doctor's note. Can you describe what that 15 consecutive days means?
Sure, it is 15 days, 15 school days in a row that are missed. And state law does not define that as needing to be excused or unexcused. So you could have 15 days out for illness, and we are still by law required to withdraw you from school.
Wow.
So that is rarely the case. The majority of our students who are 15-day dropped for non-attendance are absent without a valid excuse.
Gotcha. Okay. And this has been around, this program has been around in Minneapolis Public Schools, you said, for 10 plus years. You got involved a few years ago. What are you seeing now? What's different now that this program didn't have before?
Well, the only thing that's different this year with state funding is that we have a dedicated person to oversee some outreach that we're going to be doing with our students who have been withdrawn and are not accepting services outside of the district. So all students who are dropped for non-attendance have a notification sent to the Hennepin County Attorney's Be at School program, and then families have the option of accepting services. And we know that less than 8% of our families referred to Be at School accept service. So that means we have 92% of our families without ongoing service. So what we're doing with state funding is bringing that service internally and having student success navigators dedicated to long-term outreach with these students and their families.
Do you have any idea or insight, gut feeling into why less than 8% accept that kind of help outside of the school?
I just have some gut and a little bit of feedback, but a lot of times it's we don't want the county involved. And I think we can all understand that. We don't want other people in our business. And so it's basically thank you, but no thank you. It's voluntary service. It's good service. It's community agencies providing services to our youth and their families. So it's not an issue with what the service is. I think the issue is how the service is offered. And coming through the county attorney's office is not always a route families choose to take.
Yeah. And Colleen, you've talked about, in my conversation with you, you talked about the human element of this and how important that is. And I think, you know, if you look at the situation from the outside, some people might say, well, clearly just, you know, these parents must not care about their kids, or you come to about 10 different conclusions. Can you help us understand a little bit about the human element of all of that?
Well, the cornerstone of our work is relationship building. So we don't knock on the door, ring your bell, and say, we want you back, you need to come to school. We say, we want you back, and we can help you be successful when you come back. And we work with families to identify what the barriers to attendance are, and how do we overcome these? And we're not just in and out. We don't leave a list of referrals for other agencies. We're going to provide the service you need when you need it, and for as long as you need it. We know it's not going to be a quick fix. A lot of times the level of disengagement is significant, and it can take months, if not years, to re-engage a student and their family.
When we think about not attending school in long stretches like that, I think a lot of us think about teenagers. We think about the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. Are you seeing it at younger ages as well?
We are. Our service goes K through 12, and we see an equal amount of elementary students who are withdrawn for non-attendance. What drives that is much different, usually, than what middle school and high school students are missing for. But we see it at all grade levels. There is not a grade level that is not touched. by chronic absenteeism and 15 consecutive absences.
We've been doing some stories on chronic absenteeism over the course of the last week, and every conversation I feel like I have to ask this question, and then I hope it doesn't become white noise to people, but the importance of not missing days of school. You know, we talk about even with the with students missing 10% of school, which is another piece of the legislation. If they miss 10% of the school days, so out of 180 school days, if you miss 18 of those days, there are repercussions for that now as well. And in a parent's head, coming out of the pandemic, that may not seem like all that much because there's these appointments and there's this and there's that. Talk to us about what you've seen and the importance of being there as many possible days as they can.
It's so important to be in school. We want you here, we want you to learn, but we also want you to feel like you are part of our school community. That's really important, that you're engaging with your peers, you're socializing, you're having fun, and you're learning in that process. We know that families want their students, their children in school, but those days add up, and often they don't realize how quickly they add up. We know the majority of our absences in Minneapolis are excused absences, actually. So there are families calling in for vacation, for illness, for family emergencies, all excusable absences, but still missed learning.
Yeah. Do you have some success stories, anything that you've seen happen in your time there or heard about before you got involved that you wanted to share with us?
Well, yeah, we have a lot of success stories, but we want all of our stories to be success stories. So we know last year of the students that we reached out to, the number that we were able to re-enroll and that are doing well, they get ongoing support. But we also had a number of students that said, I just don't want to come back, I'm done. And these were our older students, and we have staff that are dedicated to help these students stay in school and do what they need to do to achieve their diploma. And last year we had 173 students through our We Want You Back program complete their diploma. So that's a great success story.
That is fantastic. Colleen, thanks for your time today and for helping us understand a little bit what's going on in Minneapolis. And if folks aren't in Minneapolis, they should maybe just get in touch with their school district and see what resources they have in their district as well. But thanks for your time and for the work that you all are doing.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, take care, Colleen. Thanks.
Bye.